What's up, all you kings, queens, and everybody in between? It's Brian here. I'm back with another video blog of Brian Speaks On from the YouTube channel of the same name. Something just came to my mind, and I'm kind of like an impulsive person when it comes to talking about stuff, as people who know me might probably know already. So this one came into my mind, something that I meant to talk about before and I forgot, and I was reminded by a good friend in conversation, and it just kind of like snapped the thought back to me. Wanted to talk about NWA, and you know, we're all familiar with the group. Most people familiar with the movie that came out much successfully, and you know, much props to them for their success. And I'm gonna be honest, I haven't seen the movie as of yet, because I'm under some kind of rock when it comes to catching up with movies lately. I've heard all the critical acclaim though, and like I said, much props to them. I wanted to talk about a certain facet about their rise in their career that wasn't apparently spoken about in the movie. Like I said, I haven't seen the movie, but I haven't heard anybody speak on this perspective, and this is mainly my opinion. It's kind of like up for conjecture, but being that I do go back along that timeline, and it was a very impressionable time period for me, being a young teenager and stuff like that during that time, and seeing the evolution of a particular kind of activism and speaking back and speaking up. I wanted to talk about how, in my opinion, the rise of NWA seemingly coincided with the fall of Afrocentrism in hip-hop. And I say that because before NWA blew up and just took over the landscape, you had a lot of a particular style of hip-hop that was very popular, and it was also really predicated more on culture, dance, you know, a more peaceful, happy-go-lucky kind of vibe. You know, you had the Native Tongues movement. You had folks. You had a young Common who was like completely of a different style back then. He was more like a goofy kind of comedic rapper. You had people who were lyrically potent. You know, people like, you know, you had Special Ed. You know, you had like De La Soul, The Tribe, Leaders of the New, Jungle Brothers, Moni Love, Young Latifah, MC Light, you know, people, and when you hear these names, you usually are able to like picture them in a certain way. You picture these people as like pioneers of a certain type, you know, people who were regarded as true lyricists and stuff like that. And that's not to take away from NWA as lyricists. You know, lyrically, I think NWA is right up there, you know, with people who are lyrically profound. It's not really about the lyricism, it's about the style and the way that hip-hop culture took a different shape. It took a different turn. And, you know, like, again, going back to the Afrocentric style, you know, it was all about rocking Black Made, urban wear, Carl Kanai, FUBU stuff, you know, things of that nature. You're rocking like African medallions and, you know, particular styles of African style garb. And you know, the ladies were rocking head wraps back then that were like more Afrocentristic. And when NWA came, it just seemed like, in my opinion, we became less intellectual, you know, in our focus, and more angry. You know, we went from being the type of people who wanted to show how intelligent we are. We wanted to show, hey, you know, we are artists, we are intellectuals, we are, you know, we are the future. And when NWA took over the landscape, it became more a product of showing just how angry we were, how all this built up anger was finally starting to bubble to the surface and bubble over. And those stories are relevant, as it applies to, the police brutality issues and things of that nature. I'm not gonna go into some of the other topics of negativity that you could go into as it applies to NWA, the misogynistic lyrics, the physical confrontations that most notably Dre has had with women over the years and stuff like that. The misogyny, the stories of Eazy-E and his misogyny and stuff like that. That it's definitely relevant. Don't get me wrong. But I'm really just trying to stick to the culture of hip hop, and how it went in a different direction. And of course, me being from that era, I'm sad to see how things have devolved to what it is right now in the culture. It's just completely, for me, non-intellectual. It just really focuses on things that are completely asinine and is just stupid, and I'm sorry. Well, I'm not sorry, but you know what I mean. Like, and again, it's not to say that NWA dumbed things down. It just, to me, I see how it became less about intellect. It became less about showing our, potential for greatness, and it became more about being angry. And again, the anger was there. It was built up. To me, NWA represents the Frankenstein's monster of America, of white society, of white supremacist society, of that system. So you birthed NWA, So I don't sit here and try to denounce NWA on certain levels, because I understand that they are the product of this country, But again, it just seemed like the takeover was just so polar. Like, it just went from this and just went that way. And you stop seeing certain stuff. You stop seeing people rapping about being in school. You stop seeing things like dudes dancing being like a cool thing to do. Like, it was no longer cool to go to a party and be busting it down. Like, now you was hard now. That's not hard. And you saw a shift. People fixating on the realities of, things that we were dealing with. But it became like the thing to fixate on. And it never really came back, unfortunately. It hasn't come back around to that cycle yet. And I do hope that in the near future it does. I know it will. The art form is just too it has too many layers to die off in this manner. Eventually, intellect is going to make a comeback. I'm not worried about it. It's just a sad period right now, though. But again, I would like to know from other people, what are your thoughts on my thought process as it applies to that? Did NWA kill Afrocentristic rap? Did NWA completely overwhelm positive hip hop to the point where, the whole culture shifted away from that, and it was no longer cool to be, more of a, just more of a positive conscious rapper? Let's just put it that way, because I don't want to suggest that NWA was dumb, like they're not intellectual in their own right, because what they were saying was relevant stuff. Definitely, it was culture changing, So I wouldn't pretend to front on that. But did their ascension, kind of kill off the conscious rap movement of that time? Because it was a real, cool vibe movement, in my opinion. But tell me your opinion. And with that, I wish us all well. Bless up, everybody. Peace.